Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Radical Race Series, Season number 2, round number 6 here at Catalunya. My name is Daniel Handover, and joining me once again is the fantastic Ewan O'Leary. Ewan, how are you doing?
Yeah, doing very well, thanks, Dan. It's good to be back here on the Radical Race Series, and yeah, Catalunya, a great circuit to be going racing at. Plenty of overtaking opportunities, plenty of difficult corners as well, so it should be a fantastic race, and it should be a challenge for everybody here on the grid here tonight.
It certainly is. We know that Catalunya, while it can be a slightly more, I suppose, not as an exciting race in some forms, Motorsport Formula 1 being one of them, because they tested so much. That won't be the case here. We saw a very, very interesting race last week, the slightly extended race with a mandatory pit stop last time out of Bathurst. No such thing happening this time around, though. It is the usual format of a sprint with no pit stop. We are in qualifying at the moment, so we are going to bring you up to the championship standings before we jump straight into seeing what's happening with qualifying. As you can see here, dominant performance from John Hutchinson last time out, so he now moves back up into first position in the championship standings overall. Bear in mind, this is the halfway point here, 155 points. Currently second in place, trailing behind only by 7 points, is Martin Booker with 147. And then joint third, we have Paul Crabb and Simon Edwards, both on 122. Colin Wynn is fifth with Dave Kirkman sixth. Again, it's very, very close. And Paul Clark seventh with 103 points. Dave Rolliston with 93. Sergio Martinez de la Cruz with 92. And then Graham Brown in 10th with 91. So it's still very, very close. You have a look down the field as well. It just is so, so close. And in all honesty, there could be so many more. You know, we're only halfway through the championship, Ewan. So this is going to be a big, big shake-up, I can imagine, in the next 6 rounds.
Yeah, there's going to be plenty of chops and changes throughout the remainder of this season. But it looks very close at the top of the standings at the moment. But Hutchinson and Booker, obviously, as you say, only separated by 8 points at the moment. However, Booker is currently those 147 points that he's gathered so far. All 5 of the races that we've had so far count towards that, whereas McCutchinson, only 4 of them count towards that, because that's the only 4 he started. So when the drop weeks actually come into effect and Booker's worst weeks actually get taken away from his score, he is actually going to be a little bit further away from McCutchinson than we're actually seeing right now. So at the moment, it is advantage to John McCutchinson. It's not over by any stretch of the imagination, but it's certainly in his control at the moment. In my opinion, the real rivals for him, obviously Simon Edwards. He's currently 33 points away from McCutchinson. He is the real rival to John McCutchinson, in my opinion. But obviously, we've got over half of this season remaining, so who knows what's going to happen throughout the remainder.
Well, absolutely. I'd tell you what, though, Simon Edwards is certainly putting his staple at Catalunya. Just on a 38.489. Very, very quick time on the board. He set purple sector in all bar the third sector, of which Paul Crabb has taken that. He's in P2 with a couple of tenths behind. Now, John Hutchinson, I have noticed, once again, is not on the grid. So John Hutchinson will not be attending this round. So realistically, it's fair game now for pretty much anyone that wants to come in. Obviously, Simon Evers taking that top step. Richard Brown just pops into ninth place in second. Let's see what's happening a little bit further down the order. Paul LeMay's just gone across the line, as has Colin Wynn. Neither of those drivers have set their have actually been allowed their first times with off tracks of sorts. Sergio Martinez de la Cruz, the number 84, going down into the final sector, going through 10, 11 and 12. There's a great little complex here in these cars. This is a fantastic combination here with the radicals around Catalunya. They're just about fast enough that the track isn't too long. Some cars, it's a surprisingly long circuit. We're so used to the F1 cars and the like now go around here in the in the very, very low 1 minutes. So it's getting slightly. The track isn't too long with these cars. So Sergio Martinez de la Cruz drops into fourth position with a 38.9. So top four now in the 38s with Dave Kirkman just on the cusp. Mike Busson has just gone. Have a look at that. Mike Busson up into first place now. So he's currently the provisional pole position with a 138.17. And I tell you what, he's actually just been immediately removed from that top step. Both Simon Evers and Paul Crabb has just gone in there with a very, very fast lap time as well. Interesting stuff. Once again, so close between the top drivers. Have a look at that. Between Crabb and Edwards, that's what, probably looking on for around about, what's that, 800ths of a second. So certainly nothing to complain about. Martina Walker's having a P6, another very, very strong performance. Paul LeMay hasn't actually set a lap time. He's got one more lap to go, but both last two lap times will not be counting. Dave Kirkman just slots up into P10, so he's just gone through. Actually, he's been bumped down because Martin Booker, have a look at that. Martin Booker now up into 11th. It's so close. It's hard to keep up with actually with who's setting quick times. It's just a blur of sectors of personal bests and session bests all over the place. One person I'm intrigued to see for the first lap is, well, actually for the third lap, I'm intrigued because Mike Busson's actually just done a very, very quick second sector. A very quick second sector. Let's keep an eye on Mike Busson for a little bit because this time might very well be a very, very fast one. Saying that Simon Edwards has actually put on another. So is Paul Crabb. This top three could be absolutely anyone's guess.
Well, yeah, it absolutely is at the moment. Simon Edwards and Paul Crabb obviously involved, and Mike Busson has been on and off a little bit, I would have to say, but certainly looks to be on at the moment by the looks of things. Coming over the line right now, it's an improvement, but it's not quite good enough for Paul at the moment. It's hundredths behind. It's very, very close, but he can't quite do enough. Simon Edwards also over the line, and he does just do enough there. So very exciting qualifying session at the moment. Paul Crabb also over the line, improving, but can't quite do enough. So those three at the moment look like the real contenders for the race here because they all improved very late on in this one, and they're all setting great lap times right now, and they're all very close, which sets us up fantastically for this race here in a few moments' time.
So it does indeed. Martina Ward just goes back across the line into 8th position. I just saw there actually as well. I don't know if you caught that as well. You would look at Paul LeMay. So his only lap that actually counted, and he certainly made it count. Look at that. He's up into 4th. He's just been popped down by Martin Booker now. He's just taken over that position. But very, very impressive stuff. Dom Langweb, interestingly, I thought it would be a little bit higher up the field. Maybe couldn't quite get the car working in this current setup conditions, perhaps. So he's in 17th. He's got a long way to go. I would normally expect a top 10 from Don Langweb quite comfortably there. So yeah, might not be getting the car to work at this moment in time. Guy Robertson, one of the last drivers to come across the line. Martinez de la Cruz has one more lap to go, and in fact, he's going to be coming across the line slightly earlier than Robertson. So let's see what de la Cruz can do. Bear in mind, he's currently 8th position. He set a couple of personal bests, but is it going to be enough to move him up the field? He hasn't got too much time to make up. And it does move him up the field quite considerably. Look at that, going from 8th to 5th. And only a couple of hundreds behind Martin Booker. Once again, so close. But as you say there, you in that top three, just, on another level. Both, all three of the top three, the only people in the 37s. Martin Booker arguably didn't have to take much more time out of it to get into the 37s. Neither does Martinez de la Cruz. But very, very impressive laps from all three.
Yeah, it's hard to see anybody outside of the top three really coming and winning this one. I know it's early to say that, but it is hard to see. because those three have just been so strong so far in this qualifying session, 3 tenths ahead of the rest. But Martin Booker's still picking up points nicely there. We've seen him having a great championship charge so far, second place in the championship, and this is exactly why he's consistently inside these top positions. Fourth place qualifying here today. That's solid. And he'll be looking to maybe even move forward throughout the race here tonight as well. So another example of why he is where he is at the moment. But Simon Edwards does look like, I should say, he has that slight bit of an edge over the likes of Paul Crabb and Mike Bousson in second and third.
Yeah, he does. I mean, 2 tenths, it's a fair amount. 2 tenths, though, at the end of the day, it depends on what the top three do, actually, because Crabb and Bousson, they could be fighting pretty aggressively at the start, and Edwards could run away. We've seen that happen a fair few times. We've also seen unfortunate incidents happen at the start as well, which do collect. I think Simon Edwards has been involved in the couples. I think pretty much everyone at least within the top 10, at least some way, shape or form this first half of the season have been involved in that in some way, shape or form. I think Road America is one of the big ones. So again, anything could happen. Let's see what happens going into turn one. But we are going to bring the grid for you now. We do have, so Simon Edwards takes that pole position. There's your confirmation there. Paul Crabb in second, with then Mike Bousson taking P3. Martin Booker takes fourth with Sergio Martinez de la Cruz in fifth. Paul LeMay takes sixth. Paul Clark in seventh. Michael LeMay in P8. Martina Ward, another strong performance in P9 with Darrell Taylor, an equally strong performance in P10. Dave Kirkman, only a fraction behind in 11th with Colin Wynn in P12. Dave Rollerson 13th. Brian Brown in 14th. Richard Brown in 15th. Ray Peasley 16th. Dom Langweb takes P17 on the grid for today. Phil Glover in 18th. Tim Alcott P19. Guy Robertson is 20th. And then Dave Dowson, unable to set a time. He is in 21st. Well, another minute or so to go. You can see the drivers lining up on the grid. At the end of the day, it's anyone's guess here. Not particularly fantastic camera angle to start this off. The blimp cam certainly not in the correct position there. So I think we're going to quickly switch back cameras. There we go. So yeah, couple of drivers left to go to get on the grid, and then we will be underway. Yeah, I mean, let's take stock after turn one and after turn two. Catalunya presents, it's quite an open turn one, turn two here. It's not completely, it's still fast. Road America was the same, and look what happened there. So you certainly can't knock anything at the moment. We just don't know. So once everyone gets through turn one and turn two, then we can start to reassess. But if someone else gets a good jump, then it's going to be very, very difficult for anyone to get past him with that pace. Lights are on. When are they going to go out? And in fact, here we go already. It's a very, very... It's not the best start for Paul Crabb. He's going to lose one, possibly two positions there as they all come down, going now into turn one, possibly 3 wide between the second, third and fourth. Side against, though, it is going to be 2 wide between Bousson and Crabb. Are they going to go single file? Everyone seems to be slotting in nicely. There's a little bit of bunching up going in the mid-pack. Dave Kirkman's sitting there. He's trying to make up some positions. He's already made up 2, started in 11th. Remember, he's up to P9 already. He's always a very, very good starter, is Kirkman. Going to try and go on the outside down into 4 of Michael LeMay. Going to be last of the late breakers, and it is going to be... No, Michael LeMay holds his ground. Dave Kirkman has to get on the brakes, though. That might allow Rollerson to come through. I don't think that's going to be the case. Might try and have a bit of a look, but decides against it. A little bit further down the field, though, once again, Ray Peasley is going to get hung out to dry. He's lost 1 position, possibly... Actually, sorry, that's Martina Ward getting hung out to dry a little bit there. Maybe another position Martina Ward is going to lose, going down into the fast left, right, up the hill. Yeah, so a couple of positions lost, but gets it straight back, though. Gets a very, very good drive out of 7. Is it going to be enough through turn 8? Just about manages to hold it on the inside. But it's going to be 3 wide. That was close. That was very, very close. Martina Ward late on the brakes, now going down into... That's a big, big instant. What's happened there? Martinez de la Cruz has had a spin. I think everyone else managed to actually get through, in all honesty. It looked like Martinez de la Cruz was the only proper... the proper person got caught up in that, unfortunately. So we'll see if we can get a replay of that. But I tell you what, in all honesty, that was a pretty close... That was a pretty controlled first lap. Something's happened to Colin Wynn. Where is Colin Wynn? He's had a spin. I wonder if he's bumped the curb. That may have sent him.
So, yeah, it's a shame to see for Colin Wynn. He had a fantastic qualifying, I have to say, for him getting up inside the top 10 there, but he's dropped outside of that now as Michael LeMay pulls over to the right-hand side there and lets a few cars by. Looks like maybe a slowdown for him that he had to serve there. But yeah, let's have a little bit of a replay of Sergio de la Cruz, because he had a really, a fairly nice start, but it all unravelled really at the hairpin at turn 10.
Ooh.
Was it on his own? Not quite. A couple of cars in front of him slowing down, and he had to slow down even more. Unfortunately, went for a spin. Everybody avoiding him, thankfully, but he does lose plenty of positions. Tim Aycock looks like he's had a couple of problems as well on these on this first lap, I should say, for a little bit of a half spin through turn 13. Has not served him too well. He's back going again at the very least. But yeah, Simon Edwards, a really great start from him. A fantastic launch, I have to say, to get away from the rest of the field. This is exactly what you need in one of these Radicals races. You can't get caught up in some of the battles that we see up and down the field. Look at the gap he's got on Mike Booston already. It's comfortable almost, as we've got contact in the lower part of the top 10, I'm afraid.
That was Ray Peasley that went very, very late going down into turn 10. Does the right thing though, holds on the brakes, but unfortunately that certainly could have been avoided. I think the closing speed may have just caught Ray Peasley out, although it did look like Ray was going in at a very, very fast old pace. Let's look at the old instant replay, see what it tells us. I mean, the closing speed, there's a bit of draft going on here. There may have been a bit of an earlier break there, perhaps, for Colin Wynn. I just think, may have just been Darrell Taylor just getting caught up, and I think in just the wrong position, actually, sort of wrong place, wrong time. Couple that with Peasley maybe going a little bit deep into the corner. Unfortunately, unfortunately didn't quite work. Paul de Klerk has just lost out on a position. Dave Kirkman's up into 6th. Dave Kirkman is just, I tell you what, again, as starts go in the first opening laps, Dave Kirkman is unstoppable when it comes to the opening laps of a race. He manages to get the car switched on so fast. I mean, there was 2 positions in the first race. In the first lap. De La Cruz obviously did have a spin, admittedly, but even so, I mean, that's 5 positions gained for Kirkman. If there was a position, and if there was that, and we have seen some very, very strong qualifying performances, if there's a strong qualifying performance for Dave, it's very, very hard for anyone to get by him in these opening laps. He's just so committed and so fast.
Yeah, sometimes you do get these drivers who are just really good at the start of the race for whatever reason. There doesn't seem to be any logical reason for it, but sometimes you just get these drivers who are very good at it. Dave Kirkman at the moment, one of those, 6th position for him right now. It mirrors his position in the championship, actually, 6th place right now. The only problem for him, he's got nearly 4 seconds to catch up to the battle for second, which is the next real battle on the circuit just in front of him, as Martina Ward tries to get this 10th position away from Richard Brown around the outside through the 13th turn of this track, and nice move down the inside into the final chicane and through. So Richard Brown demoted a place, and even Phil Glover is trying to get involved now.
He was trying to give us. That was originally a move that Brown was trying to make on Martina Ward, but it backfired because, as you say, he made his vision. A bit of contact there between the two, between Glover and Brown, but I think it's going to be, obviously you can see Glover using a lot less downforce. Now, while this is helping Brown through the corners, it's very, very difficult to overtake in the corner complexes here, because something like this, with these Radicals, it's such a long complex. These corners they're all high-speed corners, and they're all really, really wide, very, very open corners. That's a bit of a send there. Who was that? Was that Michael LeMay? That might have even been Guy Robertson. No, it was. It was Michael LeMay giving a nice, cheeky old send there on Guy Robertson. I'd say what you just saw up ahead, though. Richard Brown is trying to get that past Phil Glover. This could become a 4-way battle. And in fact, it almost is, I would say. It's pretty much getting a 4-way battle. If we go to the blimp cam, let's see if he's in a better position this time. Oh, look at that. He's got himself in the correct position there. It's a 4-way battle now for P12, with Richard Brown leading the charge here in this particular battle. Paul Cram and Mike Buston, they're still very close together. 4/10 separate those two. All concertinas up, going through 10-10. I'll get the words right eventually. And then starts to extend. So we'll keep an eye on this. We'll keep an eye on this battle here, because these 5 cars currently being led by Phil Glover. You can see the white car just there, the number 07. If they all start backing each other up, then these gaps, you can see they're about 4/10, 3/10, etc. They will absolutely come down. Have a look at what's going on at the front, though, because there's Paul Crabb. I think Paul Crabb has just made a move. Yes, we'll get a replay of that. And look who's there that wants another position. You've got That's going to be Martin Booker, Mike Busson. Mike Busson having lost the position to Paul Crabb. This is playing right into the hands of Simon Edwards. He's just driving away at this point. Not that he's going to be complaining. But Paul LeMay is sitting there wanting to get involved as well. He's just sort of waiting in the wings at the moment. If they start to battle it ever more, I mean, that gap's going to really, really fly down. That's 0.6 of a second gap that you see at the moment. As soon as they start battling, if they start battling, that gap is just going to disappear.
Yeah, it's in an ideal position at the moment is Paul LeMay, just to capitalise on anything that might happen here. So let's have a look at the move from Paul Crabb, just simply on the brakes really into turn 1. Gets the move done nicely. That wasn't bad at all. Up into second place for the two-time champion. Mike Busson's not going to be discouraged by this one, though. He's going to try and get back at him, you would expect, over the next couple of laps. Martin Booker here as well. So it is set to be a good battle, but as you say, it's all playing into the hands of Simon Edwards, who's racing out at the moment. So nearly a 4-second lead at this stage. That is large, let's say. And he's going to be absolutely loving this with 5 laps gone of the 16 here this evening. He's running away with this one right now. And even Paul Crabb starting to get a few car lengths over Mike Busson, who does seem to be struggling. Martin Booker seems to be next and might be making a move in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, very true. Well, again, we'll see how this starts to develop and starts to go. I tell you what, the battle down at the front, this has become... I mean, look at this. You've got Phil Glover still leading this train. He's now 11th. But, because I think I saw Dave Dowson that had a moat. We'll see if we can get a replay on that. But, yeah, the gaps are opening between Ray Peasley and Darrell Taylor. Again, it won't take long. It won't take a little bit of battling, and this gap goes crashing down. We could have potentially a 6-way battle here we could potentially have a 6-way battle going down for P11. Dom Lang-Webb just made an overtake. He passed, that is Dave Rollerson. Let's see if we can get a replay of that. In fact, here it is. It's coming on the brakes going down into turn 4, apologies, by the looks. Oh, well, look at that. Using the downforce of the car to drive on the outside. I'd say, well, fair enough, because Dave Rollerson, he did hang out on the inside there, and he was still carrying good speed, but just not as much as Dom Lang-Webb. So he now promotes himself up into 8th place. So he's made up 9 positions. Again, a very strong... He's got strong race pace, strong consistency. He's able to just plug the laps in, and it's benefiting him at the moment. A bit further in front, though. There is Phil Glover. That's a send and a half. Wow, Richard Brown wants this position. Oh! And I tell you what, well, I don't think it was the intention of what Brown wanted to do. I think he was just trying to go for that very, very aggressive lunge. But, I mean, it spooked Glover into making a mistake. So, well, not necessarily the cleanest way to get by someone. I mean, it's effective nonetheless.
Well, it is effective. Phil Glover just, as you say, just seemed to be a little bit spooked by Brown going down his inside, although Brown's not going to be able to keep that 11th place for very long. Michael LeMay getting down the inside, and now Darrell Taylor's involved as well, 3 wide over the line. Don't see this very often, coming down the straight here at Catalunya, down into turn 1. It's all going to be, surely, for Darrell Taylor on the inside line, but although he backs out of it, so Michael LeMay looks like he's going to take this one ahead of Brown. And then it's going to be Taylor. Ray Peasley watches on from behind. Very interesting battle going on at the moment. And all, of course, kicked off down at turn 10, where Phil Glover went for that little spin. So 3 wide down the straight. Very, very rare to see, but very exciting as well. LeMay down the inside, though, capitalises on all of those problems and moves up to 11th.
Very, very good capitalisation. You never, ever, in all honesty, I said exactly the right thing. Just sort of waited for the opportunity. And like I said, just really, really attacked it very well. Fair play to Brown, though. He did back out, but I think at the right moment, he very well could have just held that and tried to drive it around the outside of 1 or the inside of 2. The problem is, though, you'll end up costing yourself more time. So it's better to just leave that one position, let the one position go. Although, unfortunately, though, he might lose another position here. It's going to be round, potentially the outside. It's going to be a bit of a cutback for Darrell Taylor. He doesn't get the line. He doesn't cut down in the line like I thought he was going to. In the blimp camera, you can see the 2 different lines being taken, especially depending on the attacking and defending line. Little bit wide, though, for Taylor. Very, very wide. Just got on the throttle a bit too soon. May have generated a bit of understeer there. They didn't quite remove fast enough. These cars, while they are very, very good, they're very, very stable. If you do catch a bit of understeer, it's very, very hard to get rid of it. I've always found with this. Maybe that's because I'm not a very good driver, but I've always found it's just a little bit tricky. The understeer, it can catch you out sometimes, and that's maybe what we saw there.
It certainly is glued to the road. There's no doubt about that. These radicals, but yeah, it can. That doesn't mean it's what's the right word here? It doesn't mean that you can't make mistakes in them. Let's say, because despite the downforce, you can make mistakes. As Paul Craft's made a very costly one there, coming out of turn 5, excuse me. Coming for a spin, he was in second position, but he drops all the way down to 6th. That's very, very costly for the two-time champion. Was 4th place going into this race, level on points for Simon Edwards. Obviously, he's going to drop behind further than that, but makes that mistake out of turn 5, and that has cost him 4 places. Very costly indeed.
It is such a shame. Looked like it's just a bit too much curb on the inside. Couple that with maybe a little bit too much throttle for that amount of curb, and it all just goes wrong. I really, really feel for Paul Crabbe. I've done that more times than I would care to mention. What it does mean, though, is Mike Busson moves up into 2nd, and then Martin Booker moves up into 3rd. Obviously, it promotes Paul LeMay just outside of that overall podium position. However, the gap is not a lot. Have a look at that. That is the gap for 2nd place. So Mike Busson there, and he's going to be pressured. Martin Booker's got a fast car underneath him. You can see that when it comes, especially on the start-finish straight, he is able to pull at least a 10th consistently. So if he's able to get that time, and he's really, really motoring on, have a look at this. He's catching up all the way through turn 3, possibly all the way down into turn 4 as well. Martina Ward's just moved up on the inside of Dave Rolliston, so let's see if we can get a replay of that. Gap is now 0.3 between the two. This may only be a matter of time here, because tell you what, Martin Booker is looking very, very fast. Hogs it on the inside, trying to fill the mirrors of Mike Busson, which you are watching now on board from the gearbox cam. You can see Paul LeMay is just sitting there again. He's not pushing the car. He's not overdriving the car at this point. He's just sitting there, waiting for things to kick off. And the rate they're going, with how quick Booker is, they are certainly going to. You can just see Dave Kirkman there. Do not count Dave Kirkman out. Absolutely do not count Dave Kirkman out. We're just over halfway through this race. That gap is 3.1 seconds. This could turn into a three-way battle really quickly, and what it could mean, ultimately, is we see possibly even a four-way battle for P2. And considering where Dave Kirkman started all the way in 11, that'll be a very, very impressive time. Gap's already come down though. It's when I say that, it's sort of ebbing and flowing. Once it dips under the 2.9, give yourself that confirmation that it is coming down. But I'd say it would need a little bit of assistance between these three here to slow each other down. So look at this. Have a look at Booker now on that time. The gap was 0.48 of a second when they came across when they came on the exit of the last corner. Dropped under 4:10. So the last sector, Busson is very, very quick through the last sector. About 1/10 taken out. It just needs one little mistake there for Busson. And I tell you what, Booker is going to be absolutely there.
Oh goodness, he's trying to send it down the inside almost. Going through turn 3 there, that would be brave. But he's not going for it at the moment as we go back a little bit further to Martina Ward down the inside into turn 1. It's a little bit too far down the inside. No, it's just a nice move into the first couple of corners, which is nice to see. But yeah, Martin Booker at the moment would be he's in a good place, I have to say. He's on the back of Mike Booston, obviously trying to make a move, but would be moving into first in this championship if things were to end right now. So yeah, he's in a nice place. As we see Tim Adcock, I'm afraid, in a less nice place, going for a spin at the final couple of corners.
Indeed, certainly not the position that he would want to be in. This is battle is still kicking off. Look at that, Brown Peasley. I thought Peasley was going to have a bit of a look there. It was a pretty aggressive lunge, but he tried to make it stick anyway. Martinez de la Cruz is there. Obviously, he's working back from the earliest spin right at the very start of this race, and he could very well work his way back up to possibly P12. There's a bit of a slow exit of turn 7 there for Darrell Taylor. I thought Cruz was going to have a look, but he decides against it though. I'm just always keep an eye on that gap between Booker and Busson. That is always a gap there. Paul LeMay's had a bit of a moment. He's had an off track somewhere, so it's really opened up. What it has opened up though is Dave Kirkman's now only 1.1 seconds behind Paul LeMay. Well, that's another gap to keep an eye out for. Depending on the gap goes, you might see if we can go through here. In fact, this may be a move, possibly, for Booker. He weaves one way, weaves the other. Still nothing yet. It's just going to get so close. And I tell you what happened to Paul LeMay? Paul LeMay's just dropped the position. Dave Kirkman just sort of went, well, thank you very much. He just drove drove past, in all honesty. See what happened. See what happened as a replay here. Did he lose all the momentum? Going,
Oh!
That's costly.
Hit on the wall. Yeah, hit on the wall there, and he's going to really pay for that. By the looks of things, although I almost can't believe that would lose him this much straight line speed down the straight.
Well, he's lost all the momentum. May have had a slowdown.
Yeah, I was thinking about slowdown actually, because he's slowly lifting off down the right hand side. You wouldn't pull to the left hand side here, surely, if you weren't serving a slowdown, I should say. So yeah, that's got to be a slowdown, I'm afraid, for Paul Crabb there, and he's not going to get back to the back of Dave Kirkman. You wouldn't expect it. Paul LeMay, I should say. He's not going to get back to the back of Dave Kirkman because of the damage, and he's already losing places to Clark and Langweb. Martina Ward is now closing on him at the moment, so that damage is clearly affecting that car a lot right now. Hit on the wall fairly hard. It wasn't insignificant, and so it's really hurting his race, and he's going to be ruining that mistake now.
Yeah, certainly. So you can just see again. So there's the on-board from Martina Ward now. Yeah, just hear that. Even in that little place there's a closing speed down. So we may see, to be honest, Paul LeMay actually come into the pits, in all honesty. It certainly wouldn't be far from it. Yeah, in fact, there we go. So damage, obviously, just that little bit past what was able to go. It's a big shame there for Paul LeMay. He was doing so well. Just unfortunately, again, that tiny little mistake really gets you. Let's have a quick chat about the Simon Edwards, who's now got a 6-second gap to second and third, Mike Busson and Martin Booker. I mean, to be fair, there we go, cool. There we've seen Simon Edwards. Now we can move on to what's actually going on. No, I mean, again, it's just absolutely relentless pace. But it's either John Hutchinson or Simon Edwards. Martin Booker, we saw at Detroit, who was just, again, rapid, El Rapido, but this time it's taken some. Whoa, what's going on here? This is going to be possibly a 3. There's not going to be going 3 wide. Not a chance. They're going to go 3 wide. Oh, Martinez de la Cruz, you gave me a heart attack there. I thought he was going to try and set it on the inside of both Darrell Taylor and Richard Brown, but Darrell Taylor is going to try and go up the inside going into turn 5 of Richard Brown, but Brown holds the outside line. He gets the drive. He does get the drive, in all honesty. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. Going into turn 6, that means turn 7 is going to be compromised. Brown does the absolute right thing and does back out early, but unfortunately, though, it's going to cost him another position, possibly. No, De La Cruz decides that he's going to sit behind Brown for the moment. Gets a better run going through 8 down into... yeah, I always said this was turn 10. It's not. It's turn 9, I think. Oh, that's very late on the brakes. That's too late on the brakes. That's got to be contact. Got to be contact. How did they not? No way did they both keep going. Wow.
Well, I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised they got away with that, because that was a late move from Richard Brown down the inside of Darrell Taylor, but somehow they both made it work. Certainly De La Cruz obviously able to pick up some of the pieces there and make up a position, but it's not exactly surprising. Let's not forget that De La Cruz had that spin at turn 10 a little bit earlier on, down at that hairpin, of course. He's now recovering, knocking on the door of the top 10. Darrell Taylor for 11th hit. It's coming up, but yeah, this was a very interesting battle indeed. Two of them very occupied with each other at the moment, and it's even more interesting when we get down in towards the hairpin. As you say, absolutely no idea how they both got away with it, really.
No, well, we're going to find out. Let's see what happens here. So Taylor goes in. I mean, I don't think he brakes early, in all honesty. It looks like he brakes at his normal position. It's just really late on the brakes there for... I tell you what, I mean, good avoidance there. I mean, I don't think Taylor actually lost any time, in all honesty. So Richard Brown did a very good job of actually getting the car stopped. He did have to bump it over the curb, but he did get it stopped nevertheless, and he had a bit of a wiggle there going down into the final complex. Yeah, I mean, very good driving from both of them. Very good avoidance there from Darrell Taylor. I mean, he saw the car at the last possible moment, but that was all that was needed, and manages to get the car sort of up and about. So really can't argue with that there. Yeah, certainly fair play indeed. Up the front of the field, though. 2 more laps to go, bear in mind. I've just only realised there's 2 more laps to go. Again, these races do fly by, I tell you that. Martin Booker, I wonder if he's going to bait for a last move, unless he just can't get by. I wonder if Booker he's able to pull this gap all the way here. It's just that final sector where he just loses out a bit too much time here. So Busson is, I think Booker is quicker through the first sector 1 and sector 2. Just don't think he's as quick in that final sector, which does obviously hurt him going onto the straight, because that's where he wants to gain the time. Although instantly, let's have a look at the last times that they both have just done. I mean, 39.1 for Busson, then 38.9 for Booker. So it's very, very close between the two.
Oh yeah, it is very close. And there's not many laps to go, of course, as you mentioned. But I don't feel like Booker at a circuit like this anyway. I don't feel like you'd wait really until the very final lap. It doesn't seem like that really. Doesn't really seem like that kind of circuit. At a circuit, as Tom Langweb makes a pretty big mistake here coming through turn 6, he nudges the barrier even. Turn 5, I should say. Nudges the barrier even coming through there, but thankfully gets away with things. But yeah, I don't feel like it's one of them circuits where you'd really wait throughout the entirety of the race and then make a move on the final lap. It's not like Monza, for example, where you can just slipstream past someone very easily. It is a circuit where you need to work on your moves throughout lap after lap and then finally strike. Martin Booker just doesn't look like he's been able to do that. You see the example with Sergio de la Cruz here. He hasn't been able to strike for the last few laps, even on Darrell Taylor, who he should, in theory, at least in qualifying times, you would think he'd be faster than Darrell Taylor, but he's struggling to get through even here. So Martin Booker certainly isn't waiting around here. He's trying everything he can, but just can't make the move at the moment. The only saving grace really for him is that he's got 2 laps to go, which is the kind of saving grace, but even that is not very long at all, as Ray Peasley goes for a little bit of a spin in the final sector.
Yeah, it keeps it all in check though, and that is, I think that's Paul. That's not Paul Lemaine. That's the 25. So that was Guy Robertson, which Guy Robertson has since then had another small moment there. So yeah, 2 more laps to go. Again, the gaps between Cruz and Taylor, that gap is half a second. The gap between once again Busson and Booker, it's actually 0.4 of a second now. So I wonder if Busson has done enough here. He's pulled that gap and he seems to be quicker in the final sector. Again, the sort of tight, twisty stuff, he seems to just be a little more comfortable around. So you look at the gap, it's 4.5 going down into this final sector, going through turn 9. You can really see that gap. Look at that, already opens up so much. Yeah, I think it may have just been enough. What's happening down here, though? That's a last minute, well, not even a last minute move. Look like the move was done in the braking zone between Paul Clark. So he goes up the inside of Paul Crabb. So he is up into 5th. So started in 7th. Works way up to P5. Again, very, very good. A good run there for Paul Clark. He sort of got involved. I wouldn't say he got involved in anything, but he just looked to be in a couple of wrong places at the wrong time. But he's managed to recover that back. Although Martina Ward is looking very, very fast at the moment. So that's Martina Ward. She's going to have a run going down into turn 1. In fact, I'd reckon the move might be done. Look at that. Move's going to be done and dusted. Was that Paul Grab? I think Paul Grab would get onto the brakes actually a little bit there.
Not entirely sure what's going on there, but Martina Ward making light work of that one. And Crab having to lift off as well, coming into the final corner, into the first corner, I should say, and losing out on 6th place. So great drive from Martina Ward today. And also from this man, Simon Edwards, who's done a fantastic job here on the final lap of this race now at Catalunya. It's been completely dominant. Nearly 7 seconds of a lead to him. In favour of him right now. Mark Beeson and Martin Booker have been fighting it out, which obviously has helped him, of course, but Simon Edwards, I don't think even without the help today, if he was against any of these guys in a 1v1, he would take them on today, because he has been absolutely fantastic. He's going to take the championship lead as well with this victory here today. His 2nd victory of the season, and looks to go on his 3rd championship victory in a row, getting this off to a fantastic start as we complete the first half of this season.
Absolutely, 1 more corner to go, and there we are. Simon was taking the round 6 victory. With you could not have put it better myself. You an absolutely dominant performance. Very, very good stuff indeed. It's going to be Mike Busson that takes 2nd. Martin Booker not too far behind. This is still a bit of a battle going on here. It's really, really close battle now. Darrell Taylor versus Sergio Martinez de la Cruz. It's going to be coming down to the final. It's going to have to be one of these one of the last braking zones here. There's going to have to be a lunge at some point. Decides against it, though. Maybe a drag race possibly down the line, but I don't think the line is too close to the last corner. So I think it's going to be Darrell Taylor is going to take that P11. Sergio Martinez de la Cruz has to settle for 12th, though, but a very, very good race. Nevertheless, there's a little bit more of a scrap here, possibly. It's final drag race the line. It's only going to be a 10th. Oh, I thought that was going to be... If that line was about another 200 yards further, Paul LeMay would have got that right at the very end. So, very, very good. Just all of a sudden, these battles just opened up right at the very end. So we, very, very intense towards the end for a lot of drivers there. And that in the final few moments, a couple more drivers to finish. And then we're going to be having a quick look at your driver standings. Sorry, not your driver standings, your official race results here. Or the provisional race results, I should say, barring any adjustments that the stewards and organisers need or they feel that they will need to make. Obviously, protests will be coming in. Although, in all honesty, I don't really think there was too much. There was a couple of lunges into turn 9, Ewan, but I think all in all, it was actually a pretty clean race. If there were instances, they seem to be self-instigated.
Yeah, there were one or two things, but what else would you see in a normal race, really? Nothing really contentious, I wouldn't have said, especially up towards the front. So, yeah, I can't see these results being changed too much by the stewards, really, whatever protests may come into effect here. I really can't see these results changing very much. So Simon Edwards is certainly going to take this race victory away and take a step forward in this championship. He's been struggling a little bit, I have to say. 33 points behind John McCutcheon heading into today, but this is a big step forward. Take a 8-point championship lead heading into Montreal, which we'll be visiting in just 1 week's time.
Indeed, Montreal's going to be a very, very. Montreal's going to be a great circuit with these things because, again, it's tight, it's twisty, it's got a humongous straight. There's a bit of drafting that's going to be involved there as well. But yeah, that's going to be a fantastic race. So I'm very, very excited to be able to watch that there. Right, official race results. They are to be brought up on your screen now. There we go. Simon Edwards, there's your confirmation, taking the race victory. With Mike Busson in second. Martin Booker takes P3. Dave Kirkman fourth. Again, what a drive there. Overall, absolutely fantastic. 7 positions Dave Kirkman made up in that race. Again, absolute stormer of a drive. Paul Clark takes 5th. Martina Warder in P6th. Paul Crabb 7th. Dom Langweb in 8th. Dave Rolliston in 9th. And Michael LeMay taking P10. Darrell Taylor 11th. Sergio Martinez de la Cruz with a very, very good recovery drive, all things considered, for a very, very short race in 12th. Richard Brown takes 13th on at round number 6. Paul LeMay, unfortunate, just nearer the end of that race. Such a shame there. I really, really do feel for Paul LeMay. He's in 14th. Ray Peasley 15th. Phil Glover in 16th. Tim Adcock taking 17 for this race. Then Colin Wynn takes 18th. We've got Graham Brown finishing a lap down. Guy Robertson 2 laps down. And then Dave Dowson 13 laps down. Retiring relatively early in this race. Now, what we're going to do, hopefully, all being well, is we're going to have a chat with a couple of drivers, of which we do have a couple, I believe, in the commentary booth. Both? What the hell is a both? The commentary booth. And we're going to be bringing in... First person we're going to bring in, Ewan, if you'd like to have a quick chat, if you like, with the one and only Martin Booker.
Yes, let's do that. Shall we? With Martin Booker now. Welcome, Martin. Good to have you here once more.
Thank you,
how was that race for you? Good battle for second going on there. But nowhere near Simon Edwards, unfortunately, who absolutely ran away with it. How was that race for you in that battle for second?
Surprising in a word, because I've done absolutely no practice at all. Didn't have a setup, so I just rocked up and saw what I could do. And yeah, I'm annoyed I didn't do more practice now, so it turns out I had a bit of pace. So yeah, it was good fun. Yeah, I went on Simon's pace, but it was good fun chasing Mike. Good fun with Paul behind as well until we stacked it.
Yes, it was. There were a number of things going on, of course, in these battles. Let's look ahead a little bit, shall we? As well, because obviously Catalunya today, Montreal coming up in a week's time. Obviously Silverstone as well in 2 weeks. So you're involved up towards the front of this championship at the moment. How are you feeling about those next couple of tracks?
Montreal I love, and Silverstone, I know I'm in the vast minority here, but I hate Silverstone. I don't know why. I'm just slow, and I kind of enjoy hot lapping it, but I've just never enjoyed racing it. I've got no pace there. But yeah, Montreal, I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, it should be it should be a good race. So yeah, I guess we'll look forward to seeing you there. For now, nice job here today, of course. Getting another podium to add to your tally. But yeah, for now we'll let you go and enjoy that. But for now, thanks very much for coming to join us.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
There we are, Dan. Martin Booker coming to join us. Another podium for him today.
Indeed, another strong finishing position there for Martin Booker. Something he's not going to be too. Like I said, I absolutely agree with it. Very, very good, very strong performance. And like I said, he said it was unfortunately didn't do more practice. Certainly a bit of a shame there. Right, we're going to have we've got another time for another couple of interviews, so we're going to bring in very quickly. We're going to have a quick chat with Simon Edwards. Simon, congratulations on the win. Very, very dominant performance, dominant pace as well. I can imagine that was a pretty boring race for you. I mean, you know, the start was fast. You got a very, very good start, and then you drove off into the distance.
Yeah, I think I missed all the fun. It wasn't boring though when I thought, I can creep into the 37s here. I'll just hot lap to the end, and I'll just try and stay in the 37s, and I nearly killed myself. So it wasn't boring all the way through.
You kept yourself on your toes.
That's it, yeah. And then it was getting pretty slippy towards the end there, so I was getting a little bit paranoid that I was going to make a mistake. But luckily, I stayed reasonably consistent. I'm always fast around this track, and it's one of those tracks where I hate watching races around this track. So real life F1 races and stuff. So I don't know why. I suppose it's because we're slightly slower in this car and you can race it a bit more. But yeah, I quite like Barcelona. I hate to say it.
Like I said, it's depending on the car, it can be a very, very good circuit. And I think these cars, I was saying earlier in the race, these cars do pair up with this track very, very nicely. I think, which is good. Always provides some excitement. Going forward into Montreal, what's your thoughts? Do you like Montreal?
Love Montreal. It's got another chicane. Everybody hates me because I love all this twiddly chicanes, and they say, "Oh no, now we've got another chicane," and I go, "Yeah, I got a chicane." I don't know why.
I don't know. Use it to your advantage if you're faster than them.
Yeah, it's a bit like every chicane is always named after Michael Schumacher, isn't it? I think usually.
Pretty much, yeah, in one way, shape, or form. Well, I mean, in all honesty, so we look forward to seeing you then. John, maybe obviously John wasn't available for the race today, but obviously that's going to be if you enjoy Montreal, it's going to be exciting to see you two battle it out because that's going to be a very, very close battle, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think we're going to probably go lowest downforce there as well because of the two long straights. So it's going to be interesting through the corners and through the chicanes.
It absolutely is. No, fantastic. Simon, again, congratulations on the race win, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Very, very strong performance there from Simon Edwards. We'll have a very, very quick catch up if we can. Ewan, do you want to have a quick chat with Dave Kirkman?
Yeah, absolutely. I will. Dave Kirkman now joining us here in the booth as well. Dave, good to have you here once more after the race here at Barcelona. Tell us a little bit about how your race went. How was it out there here in Spain?
Well, my biggest mistake this evening was qualifying on race fuel. So, yeah, that was a bit of a mistake, really, which has put me out of order, really, because in practice I was pretty competitive. And then in the race, I had the pace, and I think for the first 3 laps I was struggling to get past Paul, but managed to get past him. And it was fairly straightforward after then, but just keeping on the track, I don't know what the others have said, after about 8 laps, the rears started to go off for me, and it was very difficult to keep it on the track and just not make mistakes. So that was my big thing. I don't think I made any mistakes. It was just keeping that concentration level as high as possible.
Yeah, of course, all important, especially around here. How was the racing around here, by the way, tonight? It was car to car. Obviously, we spoke about before the night that in some forms of racing, it can be almost impossible to race around here, and it can be quite boring. But how was it in the Radical Race Series, in the Radicals here tonight? How was the racing?
Well, I think really it's all about setting up that overtake. So you've really got to try and ideally force the guy in front to make a mistake or be kind of offline on the last corner. This is what I did with Paul really, and then I managed to get past him into turn one, just drag him down the straight, and then went on the inside and really pushed him as far wide as I dare without pushing him off the track, to basically put him out of position. That's the only real place you can do it into the left-hander, which is turn 10, I think it is, but it's a little bit dangerous because you can dive bomb very easily and take someone out, so you've got to be very careful and judge it very carefully.
Yeah, absolutely. And today you managed to obviously get to the end with a decent result for yourself, so congratulations on that, and yeah, we'll see you in a week's time hopefully at Montreal. Thanks very much for coming to join us.
Yep, thank you very much. It was a good race. Hopefully I can do something like that again in the next, I don't know where we are next week, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. We look forward to seeing you in a week's time. There you go, Derv Kirkman joining us there, Dan, from the 88 car there at the end of the race here at Barcelona.
Absolutely. So one more very, very quick conversation, very quick catch up with Phil Glover. Phil, talk us through your race. Ended up with a P16, obviously having made up a couple of positions. Yeah, just talk us through the race very, very quickly.
Yeah, it wasn't a great session for me, unfortunately. Yeah, started 18th. I think I climbed my way up to 11th. Got a little bit of pressure from behind, and then made a spin, and within about a second, six odd cars went past me. I think I then clawed one place back, and then lost it again, and then got really disheartened, to be honest.
It's very, very easy for that to happen. You know, both myself, you, and we've both been in that position, and you know, again, it is that sort of disheartening. It can be very, very disheartening. But you know, again, we can sort of put it behind us. What are your thoughts on Montreal? That's next week's circuit. Is that something that you're looking forward to? Is Montreal a track that you enjoy?
Well, it's certainly one that I enjoy a bit more than this one I've just done. So yeah. I did some practice on this, but it was a night session, so I wasn't expecting a daytime race today, which was pleasantly surprising, but slightly different.
Right, gotcha. Yeah. It certainly changes up. It does change up everything, doesn't it? Well, Phil, again, you know, commiseration obviously for this race, but you know, again, head up. Montreal is next. You know, it's a track that you enjoy, so you know, we're looking forward to seeing how you get on next week.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And usually I don't qualify generally that well, but I tend to pick up places as I go round. So I don't know. We'll see how we get on next week.
Lovely stuff. No, we're very much looking forward to seeing how you get on.
Okay, guys. Thanks very much. Catch you later.
Love it. Take care, Phil. There we go. Phil Glover there. That is the end of the interviews today, and that is actually wrapping up the event here, round number 6, week 6 at Catalunya. That was a very, very interesting race. I really, really enjoyed that actually. Towards the, you know, it really, really went. Just sort of all kicked off towards the end, but it was absolutely fantastic. We do have to unfortunately wrap up though. So join us next week for the race at Montreal for week number 7. We are halfway through this particular championship. It's going to be very, very close indeed. It's close enough. Already we've still got 6 rounds to go, so certainly anything can happen, and we're very much looking forward to seeing you. My name is Daniel Handover. I've been joined by Ewan O'Leary. Again, absolute pleasure to be alongside him for this race. We're going to be seeing more throughout the remainder of the season, which is fantastic. But until then, everyone, as always, take care and stay safe.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing put into today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in indoor series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.